Good evening, everyone. Tonight we are back in the mix. Playing a little 1-2 triple draw for you guys tonight. Couple reasons. The first one, I think a lot of you guys actually like the triple draw games. You're trying to learn them. Obviously, if I can ever get Chris back on here to do some more commentary, I'm sure this is one of the games you guys like to hear about. Also, this is a game pretty much included in every single mix format / tournament. I mean, and there's also some deuce to 7 tournaments. So I think this is a good one to do. Probably going to try to get about 30 minutes or so in. Just give you guys a little bit of content, a little background, a little strategy, etc. And as usual, this one's a pretty easy one. Best hand in this game is 7-5-4-3-2. The straights, the flushes, they do count against you, and aces in this game play high. So without further ado, let's see if we can make some hands. Early position here, we're looking for pretty much a deuce, a 7, card in between, 4 card, 8, open, it's smooth. Is there's some like 7 draw. I think like the only 7 draw I'd probably play it in early position is like 3, 3, 4, 5, 7. This is kind of, I've had this hand before, I think dealt to me, and like I have the 3-8, so you kind of have a hand that's like somewhat snowable here, like the 8, 8, 9, 10. Because you block a lot of the hands that your opponent can make in this situation, especially if there's a second person in the pot. But I think it's a little bit futile. I think if I had like 8, 8, 8, 6, 6, I might go for it. But 3-8s in general, I think I'm just gonna let go, especially multi-way. Interesting here. This is in a situation where person raises early position and the next person cold calls. I would say that on the first draw we never fold. We're just always calling again and drawing 2. Here in the small blind here, we're going to open the deuce 3. We're going to ditch the 2 9s early, but we're going to make note if we were going to play that hand. Here on the button here with 5, 3, 7 and a 5-handed game, I think I would open this hand if folded 2, even without the blockers. It's probably a little bit close. Seems like this game might be just a little bit on the tight side right now. 3, 6, 8, 9, 10 in the cutoff. I'm going to fold the 3, 6, 8. Probably close, probably a little bit tight. Probably actually should open this hand, to be completely honest, now that I think about it. I think I made a slight mistake there. But we'll try to watch it all, basically, and kind of comment on what we see going on. And I see Flary in the game again. Again, as always, if you guys like what you see, please like and subscribe. If you have any comments or questions below, please put them down there. I'll try to get to every single one of them, because I usually do. Also, if you guys are looking to open a Phenom account, there's a link below. Please click on that and do it. That helps me out, helps the channel out, keeps me motivated to keep making videos like this for you guys. And I do offer a free, I'm offering a free session again for review session for anyone who plays an hour on Phenom, records it and sends it to me. And then you guys have the option to review it with me over on YouTube, or you just send it to me, I'll review it and then post it to YouTube. But I thoroughly enjoy this stuff, and yeah, it just keeps me kind of in the game right now. Like I said before, if I go to the World Series this year, it'll probably just be for a week. I have no idea how many tournaments I would actually play. Here in the big blind, we're here with 5, 4, 7, 7. We're gonna call, defend, draw 2. Obviously, this is a super rough draw. We do improve here in the 2-2 spot. With the deuce, this is the magical card that we're looking for, basically. We're never really keeping the jack at any point. We're just going to call Flary's raise. I think Flary here should be pat a lot, to be completely honest. He does draw 1. Interesting. We make 8, 7, 5, 4, 2, and I believe this is just going to be a bet, even against him representing here that he has a strong draw. Like, I don't really think there's much to do in this situation. Our hand's just pretty strong, even in a 1-1 spot, even saying he's got a strong hand. And he's told me he basically has a strong draw, but I still think I'm going to bet the 8, 7, 5. I think it's just a little bit too strong to check here. I would check a lot of my range, fair bit of my range, but I think this one is a little bit too strong. But again, when my opponent raises, I think for the most part they could be trying to get me to break something for sure, especially if they have like a pair of deuces or something. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and bet that one for value. So we have a 4-card A draw, or sorry, well, 1-card A draw here on the button, and it is not a straight draw. We're going to 3-bet Flurry here and draw 1 if we get it heads up. And if we get it multi-way, we would consider drawing 2. Hopefully this game doesn't break. Do draw 1. And Flurry should have some strong draws here. Strong draw 2s here. One. Probably on a range on range. It's probably slightly ahead out of position here, but I do have position, so that is a bonus. Not gonna bet here unimproved. Just gonna check back and draw 1. If I paired a deuce here, I think I would bet sometimes to kind of vary it up and to throw my opponents a little bit, but. And now when Flurry bets, I don't think I've seen any sort of significant blockers here, so I'm just going to go ahead and fold the king. It is kind of somewhat interesting that he elected to not bet. It looks like he was either going for the check raise or... I mean, most likely he had to be going for a check raise or he decided to bluff his hand, but... and that's about when I catch a king. There's not really much I can do. I could call him really, really light, but it seems unlikely that he has a bluff opening from the hijack there, so. Two, 4, 5, 9. I'm going to 3-bet this out of position here and draw 2. I'm going to break the 9. This was a rougher draw, and sometimes here we keep the 9. But not with this strong draw. So we've seen a 9, a 9, and a 10 in this spot, and a 2-2. This is a little bit tricky here. I think I'm going to just check and call and draw 2 again, just knowing that I've ditched the 9 and a 10. This seems kind of dirty. I almost want to pat this hand, but patting the 9-10 out of position I think is also dirty in itself. Now we do pair of 5s. So we've caught a 5, a 9, a 9, a 10, and we've seen a jack. And in this situation, I think what we do here is we check call 1 out of position and draw 1 at the jack. We do make the jack smooth, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and check call. And we do lose to 87 perfect. I think that was a hand that I could have theoretically, I guess, check raised and snowed. I also think my blockers probably gave me a little bit enough to just continue, given the fact that I didn't think my opponent had like a 9, a 10, something along those lines. I mean, he could have made an 8 in, true pat, but it's just hard to do that. If I was in a tournament situation, I might have just folded my hand, to be completely honest. But I think in a cash game, not really worrying about like ICM or anything else like that. Check calling was fine with the jack there. 1-card A draw and cutoff. Strong open. We'd open this hand from any position in a 6-handed game. Don't really see too many 7-handed mixed games online. Because if you're in a 7-handed mixed game and you're playing deuce to 7, your range actually has to tighten up even a little bit further under the gun. But I don't think, I'm not even sure if some of the sites that even have the deuce to 7 games play 7-handed mixed games anymore. I think there's still 6. And then we will actually see when Phenom gets tournaments if they're going to do 6 or 7-handed. My guess is 6, though, since all their cash games are 6-handed as well. One spot and it goes bet raise with 5s. It's probably an overbluff. I think if you're going to raise, my guess is if you're going to raise the river with those type of hands, I think what you want to do is you want to raise like your deuces or the cards that like, your deuces or maybe even your like theoretical 3s. Because you're blocking your opponents from making good hands. Here against Flurry here with a 2, 4, 6, 9. We're gonna still draw 2, but we're gonna 3-bet him in a 4-handed game here and draw 2. If he was in early position, I'm not sure if this would be a call out of position, but we are 4-handed, so it makes the ranges a little bit wider. Brick out the first one. Easy check. Would he check raise here sometimes for sure, but majority of the time when I check, it's just going to be a total miss. 2-2, 9-10. It's kind of a interesting spot again. I've had 3 like 9-10 spots here. I'm going to go ahead and check call out of position and then just kind of realize my equity with my bad hand. This is a spot we actually talked about a little bit with Chris. Not much I can do here given my hand. So the only question here is like, what do I call with if he decides to bet? Because I've kind of like turned my hand face up. And the good news is that's kind of an easy game to solve. I've seen all 7s. I have none. And the funny thing is if he had the bet there, I probably would have folded the 10-9. I'm trying to think if I have like no, I guess I don't know. 10-9 is an interesting one because if I had 10-8 there, I probably would have broken to the 8 and just drew 1 out of position. That's an interesting one how I would play that one. 2-4-8 got off here. Definitely open. My guess is we start throwing some in like GTO world. I guess is we start throwing some like really smooth 8 draws. Definitely cut off. Probably hijack. Early position's tough. Make number 10 here. Draw really well. Then we get checked, and we expect our opponent here is just gonna check call draw 2 again majority of the time. Nothing else to do here but just pat. And again, so a lot of times when you go like 2 to pat, your hand kind of looks a little bit snowy. So you do want to get some value bets. He's thinking this long. Yeah, let's say he could pat in this situation. But my guess is he has a hand like similar to mine, like 87, but I have the best 87, so I think that this just becomes a pretty clear bet. He could have something like 8-6 with no deuce. That would make a little bit of sense. Yeah, I guess 9-5 also makes a little bit of sense too. We were talking about like what the 87s are, and basically that's the worst 87 possible is the 95. So, I don't hate that play, but I also think at some point too, you're gonna have a check call pat range, and you have to figure out which portion of that range you're gonna fold, if your opponent still bets in position. And my guess is because I went 2 to pat, like 95 is probably a call. Again, we talked a little about this with Chris. He thinks in like GTO world, my guess is like that hand would probably be a call. Maybe like your 96 with, no deuce or something like that, maybe the fold. Because my guess is if you have 97 with a wheel draw, you're probably just going to check call and draw 1. Got a bunch of different mix games actually going tonight. Some fun mix, some deuce, some dirty dozen mix. But they are full at the moment, so I am not in them. Some no limit, some no limit, some fixed limit, some more no limit. So yeah, there's some games tonight going for sure. 367 on the button here, extra 7. Gonna open this one with an extra blocker. 3, 2. And this is one of my draws here where I think I'm just gonna go ahead and bet. And then if Flurry check calls, we're just gonna pat in position. Just quick pat. Yeah, especially against draw 2. Definitely say if he says he's seen all 4 deuces, then he should definitely be raising. That'd be a good combo for the bluffs. But we hold up with the 97. Any other formats you guys are looking to check out in the future? Let me know in the comments, man. Let me know, because I'm always down to try different things. I know I've played 2 tables a couple times. Any other games you guys want to see? Yeah, just let me know. So if I have seen, well, I've been talking with some of the people behind Phenom right now, and I know that they have tournaments still scheduled for Q1, so February, probably looking like March, but they have told me that mostly they're gonna have all their devs working on the tournaments here to get those out as quick as they can. And I definitely don't blame them. They need to push these tournaments, because we can always make good content in tournaments right before the World Series. Because I'm sure nowadays people are looking for that good stuff. No significant blockers here, and we have 2-5, so folded 2 will open the small blind. But if anyone raises, we're just going to give it up. I would open some deuce wheel combos here on the button, but 3-5, I'm just going to lay it down. Again, it's one of those spots where if you don't have the deuce in your hand, it's folded around to you on the button. You don't have the deuce in your hand. In 6-handed game, this applies more, specifically against like a four-handed game. But if it folds to you on the button and 3 people fold and you don't have a deuce, there's a high probability the blinds do. So, why kind of the golden rule of deuce for the most part is if you're going to open, usually don't open without a deuce. 6-6-3 was probably would have been close, but I probably would have mucked it. If I had 2 pair, I probably would have played it. A lot of folds, a lot of folds. So 2-3 out of position here. I think for the most part, I would not bet unimproved here. And I think Flurry's just right to call, drawing 1. I think there's other times where it maybe makes a little bit of sense to raise your hand, but I think in general, like when your opponent bets, I don't think that they should be betting unimproved out of position. And again, like when now they decide to they bloated the pile a little bit more and then they check fold, which I think is also probably a mistake. Most likely they're supposed to check call and draw 2 again. Well, 3-5-8 here without the straight draw. So we have 2 cards to an 8 without the straight draw. This is something we will defend four-handed, but against the 3-bet, this is going to be a muck. Yeah, and if you guys have watched my cash game play. Definitely when they get tournaments, it's going to be, well, in general, when we're deep, we're probably 15 big bets or more. The game is going to be relatively the same. Nothing really changes. But there definitely are nuances when you are heading in tournaments, ICM, just random stuff like that for the most part. Little nuances too that will definitely help you in games. And if you're a big bet player too, if you're playing 8-game, 10-game, dealer's choice, etc., like a lot of time, strategy in playing the game is super important. I have a student who is really good at deuce to 7, and we've been studying PLO together for a while. And, I tell him a lot that, if you're really, really good at deuce and your table's really, really bad at deuce, I mean, kind of depends on, this is an interesting one here. Well, let's play this hand first, and I'll go back. I'm not going to pat the 10 out of position here. I think I'm going to draw one at the 9-5. Again, I do have the straight draw with the 3-4-5. I can get off of it relatively easy, but I don't like having it, so I think I would have just drawn one at the 9-5 and just try to quick pat that hand. But I tell my student too, like, after PLO in, I think it's the 8-game, it's deuce to 7 next, and he's a really good deuce to 7 triple draw player. So I tell him a lot of times, like, if you're in a really close spot where you think like playing a hand is super marginal, a lot of times you can give up a small amount of EV to get yourself in a game where you think you have a larger edge. And that also plays a factor too in a lot of these games. I think some players might argue with me a little bit on that, but like, I wouldn't want to, if I'm playing, fold this one, if I'm playing a game where I know I'm going to flip for my stack, in the next game is my best game. I still consider Omaha high-low. Sometimes I just avoid the small. I avoid those, like, small plus EV spots to consider like getting to the next level. And I think those play a little bit of factors. When you want to increase your variance, like, I get it. Because a lot of times when I play tournaments now, like, I don't necessarily have a lot of time. I'd rather run up a big stack or, go back to my kids kind of thing. But at the same time too, I mean, if you're looking for like profitable and correct spots, like sometimes you're, oh, that's interesting. Fleury decided to check raise, draw 1. He knocked out Shaky Snake in the process and probably has a pretty strong draw. Interesting. And then he bet, I wouldn't necessarily call it unimproved, but maybe he just broke his hand anyways. Definitely, I would say a little bit more of an aggressive line. 2-4-8 here in the big blind. We're going to defend. Against a 3-bet, I think it's kind of close. Depends what your small blind is 3-betting. If he's 3-betting all 2-card draws that he's playing, then this is probably a play against the small blind in a button open. And this is also kind of close. Fun one here. Gonna go ahead and bet, and I think I'm just gonna break the 9 and draw the 87. Yeah, I think Fleury here's got a lot of 1-card draws, but I think, well, either way, I'm gonna break the 9 now for sure. My draw isn't necessarily that strong, and Shaky, I don't really want to. I don't think I'm gonna draw 2 in this position, but oh, he drew. Did Fleury drew 1 and I just totally missed it? Weird. I guess I just wasn't even paying attention. I wasn't paying attention. Weird. No, you guys are gonna catch me on this one. 2 pair deuces, which is another good card for me, I guess. Kind of makes it unlikely that Flurry has a deuce, I guess. Could consider bluffing this one, but I think given the fact that I have a deuce in my hand, another deuce in my hand, and I have an okay draw, I think it's okay. Now Flurry Pat, this hand's kind of crazy. This hand is weird. My guess is Flurry has some sort of 9 here. But obviously I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna give up with my pair sevens. And I totally misread my hand. Misread draws. Yeah, sometimes when I'm talking into the mic, I misread the draws. Here in the small blind versus big blind, 1 card 9, I'm gonna open, draw 1 at the 9. Again, this is another straight draw with 3, 4, 6. Yeah, but obviously if you're like a super strong no-limit player, and you have like no idea how to play like, Raz, like obviously you want to play pretty nitty in the Raz games to get to like no limit hold'em if like that's the next game. I'm not quite sure what the 8-game rotation is, but as you learn and you progress, and that's why my student going back to learning PLO, like that's where we're trying to get him better at PLO, so he doesn't necessarily feel that, the easy cop out is to just fold a close spot and then try to get to deuce. You want to be competitive and you want to be good in all the games. See if we can play a couple more hands here. I'm just looking in on the games here on the other side. There is 1 seat in the Dirty Dozen mix. Oh, might go play that one, record. Play one more round of deuce over here and see if I can get some recording for the Dirty Dozen, just because seems like that is a good one to do it for. But until then, yeah, we're watching this hand play out. Again, always, if you guys like what you see, please like, subscribe. Please give me feedback. I'm always interested in the feedback. If I'm talking too slow, talking too fast, I'm talking too much about myself. If you think I'm just a nutcase, let me know. If you guys are looking to open a Phenom account, there is a link below. Please click on that. That helps me out, helps the channel out. 946 here. Muck. If you guys need to email me about anything, any questions, any comments, or if you want to send in a video of you guys playing mix for review, emails below. learnmixgames@gmail.com. Looks like we're gonna finish with all the high hands here. We will sit out. Next big blind. Yeah, when I can get a little bit of one single game in there, I just try to get it for you guys as well. Also, references that I recommend. Anything that Mr. Chris Vitch, when he is announcing, go find it on PokerGo. I'll let you guys know if he's doing any announcing during the PGT here next month in Vegas. Also, my mic stand right now is Ken Lowe's book Mix Games. Just a good primer if you're looking to learn, and if you're looking for a little bit more in-depth stuff with respect to the math, I would definitely say check out Counting Outs. It gives you a good frame of reference. It's not going to give you any super GTO stuff. I would say it's like more hot and cold equity, but at the same time too, it kind of gives you a base of hand rankings, like how you're doing in certain situations. So I think that'll help you guys like kind of understand some like basic math of some of the games that we play, and you see me playing on here. So yeah, 3579 here, not going to open here in the cutoff. And yeah, until then, I wish everyone well. Good luck at the tables. Play well. Bye-bye.